All right, welcome back from that short commercial break. And at this particular time, we're heading straight to the press release as we see what's making headlines into the world of the print media. And of course, before we get there, just a little update regarding that as President Yoweri Museveni, of course, signed 4 bills that's into law. And of course, among these laws, it includes these bills. There is the Physical Planners Registration Act, that's of 2022. And then there is the Kampala City, that's Amendment Act, still 2022. And the Minerals and the Mining and the Minerals Act 2022. And finally, the Computer Misuse Amendment Act, that's 2022. And that's it. 4 bills signed by President Yoweri Museveni right there. And of course, and as I'm getting straight into what's making headlines into the print media about, and of course, I'm going to start with the Daily Monitor. You'll pardon me this time around. I was not in position to get the printed media, that I'm just reviewing it on my online here. And of course, with the new vision, we see that 5.3 that's billion cell phones to become a West. That's according to the 2022 report. And of course, as we review that, it says that more than 5 billion of the estimated 16 billion that's mobile phones that's possessed worldwide will likely be discarded or stashed away. That's in according to the 2022 report. Experts said calling for more recycling of the often hazardous materials that they contain. You remember that the Uganda Communications Commission still in this very year, there was a proposal to disconnect the phones, the old version phones which are not up to the standards, that's original phones. And the report says something so interesting because the hazardous materials that they contain. And you know, some phones, you know, that they release certain substances which some are not friendly, but it may not be because they are old, but simply because the material in which that phone was manufactured, since it's not up to standard, it has a high effect on how actually that phone functions. And still continuing on that, that's stacked flat on top of each other, they disused phones would rise to, that's 50,000, that's kilometers, which is about 30,000 miles, more than 100 times higher than the International Space Station. And of course, according to the research done right there. And despite that they contain the valuable gold, copper, that silver, palladium, and other recyclable that's components, almost these unwanted devices will be hoarded, dumped, incinerated, causing significant health that's environmental harm. And you know, this all comes back to the climate change agenda, which is ongoing lately in the different countries. And of course, these are agendas that are being pushed to ensure that the world gets back to the foundations to be very stable. And remember, despite the environmental harm, we all know that some of these cell phones are also potential devices. They are, let me say, they are vulnerable to hacking due to their inability to actually contain certain materials. And of course, that makes it a little bit very tricky, and that's why there is that move to totally eliminate these particular devices. And now, still in the Daily Monitor, and now I'm going to let's take a look at the Computer Misuse Law Offenders, a bill which was signed by Yoweri Museveni, and we see that misuse law offenders face 7 years in jail. Of course, wow, very, very interesting. President Museveni assented to the controversial Computer Misuse Bill 2022, which targets critical voices
Smart 24, driving business.